Good evening. So let us continue with this chapter. So in today's session we will be learning about the electromagnetic induction effect, and also we'll be learning about how a coil will be a coil where magnetic field is induced, and due to that magnetic field the force is created. So all such things we will be studying today. So yesterday we ended up with the difference between a permanent magnet and an electromagnet. So now what is this permanent magnet? How is it made of? Permanent magnets are usually made of alloys. Alloys is a mixture of any two metals, right? So any two or more metals. For example, we have many alloys like carbon steel, cobalt steel, nickel steel. So similarly there is one more called all-nico. So all these are alloys and they are permanent magnets. If you see here, we have at least 2 or 3 materials mixed up, or 2 or 3 elements mixed up. So in this we have aluminium, we have nickel, then there is cobalt, as well as there is iron, but it is not put it in the abbreviated part. So the 4 components here combine to form al-nico. So all such are permanent magnets, and permanent magnets are usually used in microphones of your the headphones or the earphones what we use in that, and also in loudspeakers, electric clocks, electric ammeters, voltmeters. Ammeter, voltmeter, all these are measuring devices which are used in the laboratories, physics laboratory, and also in some of the research centers to measure electric current, then voltage of the given device or any such things. Okay, in all those things, these alloys are used, especially these are permanent magnets. Okay, so now let us go on to the next topic, magnetism in human body. So in the first session we discussed the earth itself acts as a magnet. Even human body acts as a magnet. So let us see what is that concept and how is it possible. So magnetism in human body. So we all know that in human body the messages which comes from the outside environment as well as the information or the response given by the brain, both are carried in the form of electrical impulses. So this we have studied in control and coordination chapter, right? So for example, if I am touching this board, I can get some kind of sensation. So through this sensory receptors, a message passes to my brain as well as the spinal cord, and then the brain responds, or it gives me an awareness that I am touching a soft material. It can be a board because I am also looking at that. So all these messages are electrical signals. So we all know that if there is electrical charges flowing, definitely there is magnetism around that charge. So because of electrical impulses, magnetic field is created. And there is another way. So in the earth magnetism concept, I told you that in the core of the earth there is fluids or liquid which is flowing. That is the volcanic magma or any such kind of liquids which are present inside the earth. It is flowing. Since there is a lot of pressure, the fluid which is flowing is creating the flow of charges. Because of that charge, there is magnetism. Correct? Similarly, in our body, there is a fluid which is continuously flowing. That is blood. Blood is flowing to each and every part from the heart. So, if there are fluid, then in the fluids we have ions. Ions means, let us say, the blood carries, it has water, it carries mineral salts, it also carries some hormones. So all these contain chemicals. Chemicals like, for example, the carbon, the potassium, iron, anything, many more things are carried. They are in the form of ions. Let us say C plus or K plus, Fe minus, like that. When they are in their ionic state, they are capable of generating electricity. Understood? All these things you will be studying in the chemistry part, how ions can conduct electricity. Let us not go in depth, but just remember, ions are capable of generating electricity. So again, if there is electricity, then obviously there is magnetism around that. So the other concept is, due to the blood which is flowing, blood flow, there is flow of charges, then this charges will create magnetic field. So if I ask you a question, which are the two organs responsible for magnetism in human body? So we can easily write, one is the brain, other one is the heart. Correct? The heart will pump the blood and the brain will send the electrical impulses as well as it receives. So this is the two organs related to magnetism in human body. And this is being used in medical field for MRI, which was told in the first session of magnetic effect of electric current. That is magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, so students, if there is magnetic field inside our body, then obviously it will help us to give the internal images inside the body. So let us say there is a cancerous cell in a patient's body, or there is an internal brain hemorrhage. Brain hemorrhage is, there is blood flow or leakage of blood when a person gets head injury or something. So how do we detect that? We cannot take X-rays. X-rays are only meant for taking pictures of bones. But we need to understand in depth about the tumors or the dead cells or the dangerous cancer cells, etc. For that, MRI scanning is preferred by the doctors. So MRI scanning uses the concept of magnetism inside the human body, as well as there is a machine device which can trap this magnetism inside our body and give the image of the particular organ. Okay, so that is one big advantage or an application. Further, so these are the two concepts which we can understand in magnetism in human body. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is force on current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. Okay, so it is force on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. So let us understand each word clearly. Force. Force means it can be a push or it can be a pull. Correct? It is a kind of movement, push or pull. So that push or pull happens over what? So right now I am pushing a box here. So the box is experiencing that force. Here who is experiencing? It is the current carrying conductor. Let us say there is a copper wire here. This wire is carrying the current. So now this wire is going to experience a force. Either the wire will be pulled or it will be pushed. Who is creating that push or pull? It is the magnetic field. Okay. Now, we all know that if there is current flowing, there is obviously magnetic field around it. Not this field that we are talking about. Let us say we keep two bar magnets here. These bar magnets will create a push or pull. So this is what we are speaking here today. Okay, let us go in detail. So today's topic is force on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. Now, so a magnet exerts mechanical force on a current carrying wire, and if the wire is free to move, this force can produce motion in the wire. So there is a wire, and as I said, there are magnets. We have not supplied any electricity, but since there is magnet, we have the magnetic field already created, isn't it? If we bring any iron or magnetic material in between these two magnets, it will get attracted or it gets repelled. Something might happen, or definitely it gets attracted. Now, let us say we supply electricity and make sure that the wires are not fixed to a particular thing. It should not be tight enough. The wires should not be tight enough. It should be allowed to freely move. Move in the sense, just hold a thread in your hand, and if you can able to rotate that thread, hold it in both of your hands, okay, and make it like this. So this is called movable wire. Or let us say this is the wire. If you allow this to move like this is called movable. Okay, if you hold it tightly, then this is not movable. So now we are asking you to make this as movable. Now pass the current. What happens? Once the current is passed, this wire will be either attracted towards the upper magnet or towards the lower magnet. It can happen like this, or it can also happen like this. The wire might bend towards the magnets because the magnet is producing mechanical force on the wire which is conducting current. Okay, so far we have studied the current will induce magnetism. Now we are studying the magnetic field can put mechanical force. Mechanical is what? The force which we do it by using the physical power, isn't it? If I am able to pull the board like this is a mechanical force I am doing, isn't it? So the magnets are doing the same work here. Now further, so what did we understand? There is a mechanical force by the magnetic field over the wire if it is movable. Later, further what we are going to observe is when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, there can be equal and opposite force that can be applied over it. So we all know Newton's third law of motion. What does it say, Newton's third law of motion? So Newton says that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Now let me give you an example. I'll take a ball, I'll throw the ball towards a wall with all my strength. What happens? The ball hit the wall and comes back to me itself. Correct? It comes to my hand, or if I don't catch the ball and if I allow that to go, it will pass through me. So, which means I applied a force. This is my action. Okay? And now the ball also applied equal and opposite. What do you mean by equal? I sent the ball from here to the wall, which is 3 meters away from me. So now the ball is also coming to me at 3 meters distance, which is equal. And opposite. Opposite means I throw the ball, because there is a wall, the ball came back to me. The ball did not go out of the wall, right? That is, if it had gone out of the wall, which means it is not opposite. It is coming back to me. Okay? It is like we play badminton. I hit the cock, it comes back to me, which is opposite to each other. For the player who is standing here is opposite to that player. Correct? So, whatever the action we did, we get equal and opposite response. So, similarly, this happens here in the current carrying conductor. What happens? Once the current carrying conductor is kept in middle of two magnets where magnetic field is present, the magnetic field gives equal and opposite reaction. Let us say we are supplying 2 amperes of electric current. So now the magnetic field has to give the mechanical force. Force is measured in newtons. So it will also supply, let us say we cannot say for 2 ampere, 2 newtons is the equal amount of force. It can be something which is almost equal to 2 ampere. Let us say it is 1.8 newton. Okay, let us assume like that. So this is supplied back to that current. Okay, so it gives equal amount of force back. This is what we understand from Newton's third law of motion. Then further, so far we are telling force will be present in the current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. But how do we prove that? We have an experiment to do. Let us conduct that experiment so that you will get more clarity on this topic. Okay, now we are going to conduct an experiment. So this experiment is also called as the kicking wire experiment. The kicking wire experiment. Can you see the word here? Kicking wire. The wire is being kicked. In a football match or in a football game, we kick the ball, isn't it? We are making the ball to move away from us, which means we are applying our mechanical force to make an object to move away from us, or sometimes it can be towards us as well. So this is kicking wire. So let us first draw the diagram. So you take a horseshoe magnet which is like this. Let us say this is the north pole and that is the south pole. In between this horseshoe magnet, keep a small device. It should be kind of a plate, okay, and fill that with mercury. Mercury is a metal which is a very good conductor of electricity. Good conductor of electricity. I'll tell you why we have to take that, okay. It's a very good conductor of electricity. Now, take a wire, a copper wire. Now, the copper wire here, let us say this is B, this is A. B here, it has to be just touching the surface of the copper wire. Sorry, the mercury. It should not be submerged inside. It should touch the surface. Now, let us say we take a glass of water, touch the surface, but don't immerse your finger to that. Okay, like that. So, it is being touched. Here we have some support. Okay, let us say some kind of support, yes. Here, please have a hook kind of thing. You all have seen the swing, right? Swing. So the swing's hook will be flexible enough. As you move the swing like this, the hook will also give you a flexible movement. If you have a fixed hook, then the swing cannot move properly. Here also you should have that kind of support, which will allow the wire to swing here and there. Next. Now, connect this wire to the external source. That is the battery. And one end is connected to the wire, the other end should not be connected to B, but it should be just put it into the mercury. Please observe here, let us say this is mercury, the B wire is just touching, and the source which is coming we will not connect here, but we will just submerge that here in the mercury. And I have told mercury is a good conductor of electricity. If the current comes here, the current will also flow inside the mercury, and the wire can carry the electricity. Understood why we use mercury here? Then, so once this arrangement is done, this is the magnet. So this is the copper wire. Why we are using copper wire? Because it is a conductor of electricity. Later we have the support and a flexible joint. Okay, there is a flexible joint and everything is ready. This is the battery. So the setup for the experiment is over. Now let us understand what happens. So we have a thick wire here, then the flexible joint, the magnet, the mercury, then the battery, everything is set up. Now let's allow the current to flow. The current started flowing. Once the current started flowing, what happens? Here, because we have the magnet placed in between the current carrying conductor, as I told you, this will apply mechanical force. Mechanical force is what? We have the magnet here and the wire is in the middle of the magnet. The magnetic force will make the wire to move. It is either pushing or pulling. Okay? Any one case will happen. So we know that it goes always from the north pole to south pole. So let us say it is pushing. So once the wire is pushed, what happens? The same diagram I will redraw here. So this is A. Okay, so I have redrawn here. The wire will go from B to E dash, which means the wire will go slightly towards that side. Understood? Once it goes out of the mercury plate, see here, it goes out of the mercury plate, then the circuit is blocked. When the circuit is closed now, sorry, the circuit is open. If you want the circuit to run, it should be always closed. Then only the electricity will flow. Somewhere if you cut that, it becomes open, so the current will not flow. Now your circuit is open, right? So the flow of current will not happen. So as soon as the current stops, what happens? The magnetic effect will stop. The magnet will not apply the mechanical force. Now again the wire will go back, it will touch that. Again the current will flow, it is automatic. Once the current goes, again there is a push or pull, the wire goes here, current stops. Once the current stops, magnet also stops putting mechanical effort, again connection. It is like a repeated cyclic movement. It keeps on continuing. Understood? So by this, we understand that the magnetic field can induce a mechanical force for a current carrying conductor. Understood? So isn't it a simple experiment? Now let us move on to the next topic. So this is what the kicking wire experiment. And here few things has to be noted. That is, when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, a mechanical force is exerted, which I just told you. Then, here the direction of the force acting on a current carrying wire is dependent on two factors. The direction of force, that mechanical force is in which direction? I just told it's a push. Sometimes it can be a pull also. So which direction? To decide that, we have two factors here. One is, it is perpendicular to the direction of current. Perpendicular to direction of electric current. Now let us say the current is flowing this way. Okay? Now the force will be perpendicular to it. Perpendicular is what? Either it should be here or it should be here. So let us say this is the force. So if you see the force line and the current line, this is the electric current, this is the mechanical force. Both will give 90-degree angle. That is what we call perpendicular. Otherwise, if you consider from this side, again it gives you perpendicular measurement. Okay? So it is perpendicular to the direction of electric current. Then one more factor is it is also perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Now let us say perpendicular to direction of magnetic field. So this is the current carrying conductor. Electricity is moving this side, and we know that there are concentric circles. Yesterday we studied. Now since we have the force coming from this side, and if you draw a tangent to that circle, I take only one circle and the force is coming here. Draw a tangent to that circle. Now you see, isn't it perpendicular? 90 degree. All these concepts comes in geometry, right? For a tangent, the line which is coming here, it gives you 90 degree. Or you can take from that side as well, it gives you 90 degree. Okay? So two things to be observed. The direction of the force will be perpendicular to electric current as well as the magnetic field. And if you consider, the maximum force is exerted on a current carrying conductor only when it is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Okay? So, what we are telling? It is perpendicular to electric current. Now, I want the maximum force to be applied. The wire just moved 1 centimeter away. I want the wire to be moved 10 centimeter away. The wire which we did that experiment, right? So, to make that move farther, what should I do? I should always have the direction of the electric current perpendicular. Let us say if we make it parallel, 0% of or 0 force is applied on the conductor. Okay, it should always be perpendicular to exert maximum force. Okay, and I just told you to make it stronger, we need perpendicular force here. Similarly, the human body, what is as magnetism, it is nearly negligible. It is the weakest magnetic force which is exerted in our body, because if we compare ourselves to electromagnet or permanent magnet, the magnetism present in our body is very weak, and because of the weak ionic transactions. Okay, so let us continue. So as I was telling you, in this diagram what we gone through now, if the current has to be reversed, let us say the current was flowing here and the mechanical force came from this way. If you want the force to come from this way, just reverse the current. Okay? Then the mechanical force direction also changes. Similarly, earlier in this diagram we had the mechanical force coming from here. If this is the electric current, this is the mechanical force. Okay, and there was magnetic field around it. When we change the current, the mechanical force also changed. Obviously, the direction of, let us say, the direction was this way. The direction of magnetic field also changes now. Okay, everything is reversed. It is possible. Now, let us go on to the next topic. That is Fleming's left-hand rule. Why is this needed? To identify the direction, we need some mechanism to be applied. So, a scientist called Fleming has given this a simple logic using our left hand. Just open your thumb, forefinger and the middle finger. Keep them at right angles like this. Okay, it should be at right angles. So, it gives you a 3D picture like this. All are at right angles. Okay. So, now each finger will represent three different things here. So, we have three things here. One is the electric current, magnetic field as well as the force of motion. The three things are represented using these three fingers. The thumb always represents the current carrying conductor. Okay. Now if I have to draw, this is the forefinger and this is the middle finger and let us say this is the thumb. Okay. So always the thumb represents electric current. So let us put that in a diagrammatic way. So that is electric current and the forefinger always represents the magnetic field. The middle finger will represent the force of motion or the mechanical force. Okay, so all are at right angles to each other. This gives us a imagination of any kind of conductor. It can be reversed or irreversed. We will understand all the three are in perpendicular direction. And if you, we have studied the XY plane, but imagine the XYZ plane, the 3D image plane. There you can relate this diagram. Okay, it's very simple. According to Fleming's left hand rule, in your left hand open the thumb, middle finger and forefinger. The thumb represents the electric current, the forefinger represents the magnetic field and the middle finger gives you the force of motion. And all the three factors are at right angles to each other or perpendicular to each other. Now, there are some observations made from this diagram. Let us see what are those observations. Or we can say some conventions. So, according to Fleming's left hand rule, the first thing what is observed is, by convention, the direction of flow of positive charges is taken to be as the direction of flow of current. Now let us say there is a battery plus and minus. Okay, always the charges move from plus to minus. Okay, that is convention. But we, for our understanding, since we believe the electrons are negatively charged and the flow of electrons will give us electricity, so what we do, we consider the opposite way, the negative charges. Okay, that is what we consider. So firstly, by convention, flow of positive charges tells us the direction of flow of current. But what we believe or what we consider is the direction of electric current is however taken to be opposite of the direction of flow of negative charges. We believe the direction of flow of electric current is opposite of flow of negative charges. Both means the same. See here, the direction is the flow of positive charge. Here we are saying it in other way. In English we study, right, the negative sentences, like if I might say I like ice cream. Okay, so how can you put that? Don't you like ice cream? We make it negative. I do not like ice cream, or don't you like ice cream? So that is the negative way of telling it. So both means the same. And the third convention is The direction of deflection of current carrying conductor tells us the direction of force. Now let us say we have a compass here. The compass shows you the deflection. Why is the pointer deflecting? It is because there is a mechanical force applied. There is magnetic field, I know. Because of that magnetic field, there is a push or pull. That push or pull is experienced by whom? This pointer. So how can we tell the third point? The third point is the direction of deflection of current carrying conductor tells us the direction of force acting on it. Current carrying conductor tells us force applied on it. So if we had a wire and if the wire is being pushed towards the down, let us say this is the A position and B position. If it is pulled down, which means the direction is coming from the above, right? If it is going up, then the direction is from below. That is what the third sentence means. It is similar to the deflection of magnetic compass. Okay, so these are the observations that we made in Fleming's left-hand rule. Further to continue, the next topic is electric motor. So we might not be knowing the working of electric motors, but each one of us will be using electric motors in our day-to-day life. Electric motor is an electronic device which makes use of magnetic effect of electric current. So this device converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Now let us say the water to go from the sump to the tank above the house, we induce or we connect it to an electric motor. Okay, once you switch on the switch, okay, that energy, what is it going? It is electrical energy. The electrical energy goes to the motor and the motor will make the water to flow upwards. Correct? The water flows upwards and your tank will get filled. So when you open your taps in your house, in the kitchen or in the washrooms, the water will come. So who made that water to go to the tank? It is the electric motor. So what did the electric motor, what was the work of the electric motor? It received electrical energy and it converted it to mechanical energy. Mechanical energy means some work is being done. The water was taken from the sump and it was pushed into the pipe and it went to the tank. So there was a mechanical work happened. So how can we define? A motor is a electronic device, or you can just say a device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Fine. So this is the definition of a simple electric motor. So electric motors are used in almost all the electronic equipment where there is some movements. For example, fans are rotating to give us air. So the motor is present in the fans. The mixer grinders, it will also rotate to crush the things which we have put it in the jar. So it has an electric motor. Then the washing machines, because they spin and rotate to wash the clothes. Again, the electric motor is present in the washing machine. Okay. Similarly, in the cars and as well as in many equipments, the day-to-day life equipments, we can see electric motors. So washing machine, grinders, cars, then fan, etc. consist of this. Now, we understood the definition of electric motor and where it is present. Let us also understand the working or the principle behind the electric motor. Principle is the idea behind. Okay, if we pour ink into this marker, this will be able to give us the letters by the movements what we make. If we make a zigzag movement, it gives us a zigzag pattern on the board. Similarly, how is it the electric motor performing to do our day-to-day works? So let us understand the principle behind it. So it is not an electric motor, let us write principle of a motor. So the principle behind this, an electric motor utilizes magnetic effect of electric current Understood? So the chapter we are discussing is magnetic effect of electric current, which means the motor will have both the electrical energy and then magnetic field. A motor works on the principle that when a rectangular coil is placed in a magnetic field and the current is passed through it, the force acts the coil to rotate continuously. What is it? This is a rectangle. Okay, rectangular coil. Coil means this is made up of a wire. We take a long wire, we bend that as a rectangle. Now, keep that in the middle of two magnets. So there are two magnets, there is a coil. Okay, now supply electricity. So let us say the electricity goes like this, like this, like this. Now, when there is electricity supplied and there is already magnetic field, we have understood magnetic field can induce mechanical force. These two magnets will give some force on this coil. What happens if there is a force given? If I give a force to this marker, it will move away or it might go in the other direction. So if we give the force on this coil, the coil will rotate. Let us say this is A, B, C, D. After some time what happens? The CD comes down, okay, and the AB goes up. It's very simple. So to describe it in few words, this is how we can tell the principle of a motor. Now let us conduct an experiment and watch how actually those coils are getting rotated. Okay. Anything happened? Okay. Now let us see how this motor is constructed and the working of that motor. So construction of a motor. Okay, it will be like this. We have two magnets. Okay, in between we have a coil. Coil is what? A long wire bent into a rectangular shape. So let us start from here A, B, C, D. And now the coils are connected to a battery. Before it is connected to a battery, please just imagine and see. I have told the coil will be rotating, and if I connect the wires directly like this, once the coil is rotating, the wires will get twisted. So that should not happen. Because of the twisting, the supply of electricity may stop. So to avoid that, we are making a slight change here. That is, use two brushes. Those are carbon brushes. It's kind of like in the cycle, when you apply the brake, there are kind of brushes which will go and hold the cycle wheel, right? So that those kind of brushes will be used here. And to these brushes you connect the brushes are here. Let us say there are two brushes. This is P and this is Q. The striped things which are marked here, those are brushes P and Q. This curve shaped material is the commutator. Okay, I'll tell you what is the meaning of commutator. And now these commutators are connected to the wire. Okay, this is the simple arrangement. Now the magnets present here will induce magnetic field. So let us say, we know it goes always from the north pole to south pole. So the magnetic field is coming from north pole to south pole. And since I am supplying current from this region, the current is going here, here, coming back. So just consider the first path where we can say the current is like this. Can you see the magnetic field and the current both are perpendicular according to Fleming's left hand rule? Yes, it is correct. Now, what else? And there is also force, mechanical force coming all the way. Mechanical force is coming. Please students, don't get confused. Magnetic field is different. Mechanical force is different. Magnetic field is created by the current flowing in a conductor around it. And this mechanical force is coming from these two magnets. The magnets are pushing the current carrying conductor. Now, commutator is an equipment which will actually reverse the direction of current. Okay. Now let us say we want some device to work both the ways. Okay. It is the clock has to move clockwise also, and sometimes if we want that to be moved in anti-clockwise, there are some equipments. Right now I am not getting. Yeah, in cars, car will be moving in one direction. Okay. Suddenly you want to take the reverse gear, and the car comes back. The wheels which were going in this clockwise direction, now it will be coming in the anti-clockwise direction, isn't it? So in such equipments, this reverse of current is required. In order to reverse the current, we need commutators. How it is reversed, I tell you now. Now, this is the setup. There are two magnets. There is a ABCD rectangular coil. There are two commuters, let us say X and Y commutators. Then there are two carbon brushes, P and Q. Then the battery, the magnets. This is the flow of electric current. The magnetic field is from north pole to south pole, and in between we have the mechanical force. Okay, everything is set up now. Let us start the experiment. You switch on the battery, the current moves from the battery towards A, B, and it comes. So when the current is, yes, in doubt? Yes, any doubt?
Can't see you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we'll rectify that problem. Okay. So, let us say the current is flowing from A to B, B to C, and C to D. Okay, it's coming like this. Now, what happens when the current is flowing? Obviously, there is a mechanical force created because of these two magnets. What happens? They push. Now, let us say there is A. Now, AB will come down and BC, DC will go that way. Okay, AB, which is in left position, will come to right position. Before it comes, how does it move? So initially it was, let us take like this, AB, CD. Now it is slightly now like this, where AB is at the top. AB was like this. Now it has moved like this. Still it has not come this way. Just now I am showing you the vertical picture. Okay. Now AB, CD, and finally how it comes? It should become like this. That is, AB will come here, CD will go there, that side, the right. Left will come to right, right will come to left. Now, because of the force, this AB is coming this way. When it comes to the straight path, what happens? Both these commutators will go and touch each other. Okay? When those go and touch each other, the supply of current will stop. Okay, supply of current is stopping, and you know, once you switch off the fan, there is no supply of current, but still the blades will be moving for about 1 or 2 seconds still. Let us say some 30 seconds it will be moving. Then only the rotation will stop, because it still had that momentum, that force was still there. Correct? When the car is running, you apply the brake at the point A. It will not stop at point A itself. Maybe a little farther it moves and then stops. Because the car has some force still existed with that. That is called momentum. So still there was momentum. Even though if you stop the current, it will still bend. Okay? You might think once the current stops, it will stop in this position. No. It will still come to this position. So once it has come to this position, then the current is reversed. Which was going from A to B, now it comes this way. Okay? So like this it keeps on happening. Again, CD will go that side, this will go that side, AB will come here, again it will go, again it will come here. It keeps on rotating. So did you get that? Because of that coil rotation, you can connect this coil to any device. Let us say the blades of a mixer, like this, the blades keep rotating and the mixer will work. Similarly, a washing machine, the drum keeps rotating and then the work is done. So this is the mechanism how an electric motor works. Now let us see some of the observations in this. The observations are, so in some of the equipments we need a powerful magnet. So instead of using a permanent magnet, electromagnets will be used. Let us say the washing machine. There are some machines which gives 600 600 rotations per minute, 700 rotations, 1200 rotations, 1500. The latest machines will have even more rotations. To give more and more rotations, we need a powerful magnet. That is the electromagnet is used, and the coil is basically made up of copper, because copper is a very good conductor of electricity and it gives proper working without much errors. Okay, so that has to be observed. And in commercial materials, commercial motors are like the motors used in washing machines, cars. What happens is the coil is made up of soft iron core. Soft iron core is the iron has multiple types. Okay, soft iron, pig iron, etc. So the soft iron becomes magnetized very easily and it increases the strength of the magnetic field. That is what is needed, right? The magnetic field strength should be more, even the current has to flow in a quicker way. So soft irons are used in commercial motors. So this is the mechanism of an electric motor. So we have one last concept for today to end today's session, that is electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction is, even magnetism can induce electricity. So far we have studied electricity induced magnetism. Now it is the other way. Magnetism can also induce electricity. So how can we define that? The production of electricity from magnetism is called electromagnetic induction. So the process of electromagnetic induction had led to the construction of generators for producing electricity for power stations. So there are many equipments called generators. Usually we see generators outside a big industry or outside wedding conventional halls, or where huge meetings are happened, or where electricity is needed continuously. For example, offices, industries, factories. So many affordable people also adopt generators to their homes. So these generators work on the concept called electromagnetic induction. Okay, they generate electricity using the magnetism. And galvanometer is an instrument which can detect the presence of electric current in a circuit. Now there is an equipment called galvanometer. So we have ammeter to measure electric current, but to detect whether there is electric current present or not, we have a kind of sensor that is called galvanometer. Okay, so this is an introduction to electromagnetic induction. There are some experiments to demonstrate the electromagnetic induction, which we will be discussing in the next session. Okay, so that's for today. Thank you so much. Keep reading. Continue your work.